Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to Paranormal Perspective with Full Moon Paranormal. I'm Nicole.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Lisa.
Susan
You're
is
muted,
muted.
Susan.
Susan, you're on mute.
Okay. Muted.
I'm Margaret. Hi, Chuck. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. Hi, Maria. So what did everybody do for 4th of July?
I went to my friend's house.
I actually stayed home. I was pretty boring. Sorry. You?
I cleaned out my closet.
I stayed home for 4th of July. I had a barbecue at my in-laws on Saturday before we went to the cemetery, which we'll talk about a little later. Hi, Mark. Chuck stayed home and chilled. Seemed like that's what everybody did. The weather was pretty iffy. Wasn't really a nice night to go out and see fireworks.
No, it was crappy out. For sure.
Though the fireworks in the city were amazing.
I heard they did like a tribute to like Motown.
Yeah, they were
instead of the traditional military music that they normally have. All right, so let's jump right into our podcast today. We have, hi Maria, a lot of exciting things to talk about. So tonight we're planning on talking a little bit about Gettysburg. We're going to talk about some of the investigations we did this last month. And then we have an announcement about one of our events coming up at the end. So that's exciting. Make sure you stick around for that or pop back in towards the end. If you can't stick around for the whole thing, but we hope you do. And so we are Full Moon Paranormal. Most of you who are in here know us. Okay, so this week I posted a video on our TikTok and Instagram that a lot of people seem to relate to. It was a funny video about balancing the podcast and our public investigations and our private investigations with our day jobs. So how do you guys balance? Because we're all moms, we have husbands, we have kids. How do you guys balance that?
Who wants to start?
You want to start? Because I know your circumstances are a little bit different because this really relates to your day job.
Oh, me? I'm like, which Lisa?
Yeah.
It's not, well, for me personally, it's not easy at all because I have 3 children and they're young and they all have really crazy activities that they do in clubs with school. I mean, now that school's out. So it's difficult, especially because I do, similar type of work 6 days a week, usually, sometimes 7. Either whether we're together or whether I'm, doing events or private individual sessions. So really it's I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying to find the balance of making sure if I give myself some time off to like attend one of my kids' events or just spend time with them, I'm home, or I'm with them and stuff like that. So I'm actually trying to, I feel like it's a lesson this year for me is trying to balance more because I don't, as a lot of the time I'm running out, especially at night.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You're
for
really
me,
setting those boundaries between work and home.
Yeah. And still doing things, for myself too. Like we all have to do that too, like trying to find. So.
Lisa, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying for me, it's, I guess I'm lucky because it's pretty easy. My son is grown. I'm down to only working a couple days a week now and spending more time helping out with my mom. So my nights and my weekends are pretty open. So in that sense, I've been able to balance it and it's been good for me. Hoping it stays that way. And that's pretty much it. And I have a supportive husband. So that's good.
That's always helpful.
Yeah.
I too, my daughter's grown, so I have a lot more free time. And I've kind of made, after many years of not being the priority, I've kind of made my interests a little bit of a priority. Takes a long time to get there, but I'm finally like, yeah, I'm going to go have some fun. So I make what I want to do. And my husband's also very supportive. But you have to make time for yourself.
It's a little bit easier now that mine are getting older. Mine are 9 and 14 now, so they're a little more independent. They don't need constant watching every moment of the day. So I don't feel quite as bad when I leave them with my husband to go out at night because they don't need constant interaction. They can hang out and entertain themselves.
Right.
But he is very supportive, which I appreciate. But I think we all have supportive husbands. We talked about that last time.
We're all lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Very lucky.
Especially with mine, because like even my nights, like my schedule is never the same. You know, every week, you know, some weeks I'm home in the evenings. So if something pops up where we, you know, needed to say do a private investigation, I'd be able to do that. And, you know, and then there's other times where I have events booked months out in advance, and like there could be 3 nights, you know, in a week that I'm not home. So it's also trying to juggle that. So I am very lucky how supported I am with that, because it's not your typical, you know, 9 to 5 kind of thing or a set schedule.
Yeah, and I'm lucky with my job too that it's very flexible. I work in retail, so I can put in that, you know, I need a day off, I need to leave early. I can put in my vacation time, like when we go to Gettysburg, and I don't really have anybody giving me a hard time about it. And also they know what I'm doing, and they're cool with it. So
yeah, that's
nice.
why I like being my own boss too. Like, there's none of that. Like, if I really want to give myself time off, I can do it.
Yeah, and are all of your jobs? I know, Lisa, your job is aware of what you do.
Yep.
And you made a lot of connections at work that have gotten us into some cool places.
Yep. The Italian guys.
Yes, definitely got some good connections from your job.
Yep. Yeah, actually, all my coworkers and even my customers, they all think it's really cool, and yeah, they're always excited to hear about my adventures. So
it's amazing when you start talking to someone, you think it's so taboo, but it's really not. Like how many people are interested in it, but they're afraid to even mention it because I think someone's either going to think you're nuts, or you know, someone's going to yell at them. Like,
yeah,
but yeah.
And a lot of our followers on our page are actually some of my customers. So,
that's so cool.
Yeah, they love it. All right.
So the next point that I had was, are you ever concerned about stirring up spirits that might be best left alone? And along with this, bringing things home to our families. Because a lot of people ask me that. We had a comment on a post that I made actually earlier that I shared with you guys. Someone had commented on the post about the children's event we were doing at the Bombville Grange, basically saying we should be disappointed in ourselves for introducing children to this, and that evil attaches to the innocents, and going on a whole rampage. And, you know, the way we go about our investigations, we're not inviting evil, and we would never host a public event anywhere where there was a negative presence or a negative entity.
Right.
We always emphasize safety and respect to spirits. So what are you guys' thoughts on this?
We talk about that, and Nicole and I had done last around Halloween time a children's program. We were contacted by a library over in Dutchess County. You know, and we talked about proper protection protocols and intention, and also even just going with your feelings. If something doesn't feel right, it's okay to remove yourself. You know, so we would never ever intentionally do that. And it's not even the fact that we are advertising this to just random people, like, oh, you should come to our, bring your child to our event. Maybe they'd like it. I can say my oldest daughter, who's very into this, is 13, and she'll come home and tell me she makes friends at school, and they'll start talking about, and she'll be like, oh, you're interested in the paranormal, or you're interested in investigations. Like, these kids know about this stuff already. A lot of them already know about it, or, oh, you're into crystals, or they're into energy healing. Like, you don't realize how much these children already know. So if anything, we're giving them the opportunity to come in a safe space and learn proper techniques and protocols and things like that. Like, that's how I'm looking at it, versus what did we do back in the day? I mean, I could speak for myself. I remember being in, actually it was her age, 7th grade, and going to somebody's house and playing with an Ouija board. Nobody ever talked to me about the dangers of that.
Yeah.
So if anything, we're trying to teach them, so I don't think it's bad, at all. And I also feel like we talk about intuition or mediumship abilities, we all naturally have intuition. Some are stronger than others, but these children have that. You know what I mean? Some of them have it stronger than others. And I feel like that's also safe for that. They should be able to feel comfortable exploring themselves in a safe space and not being judged, or being told to be afraid that something bad's going to happen. Now, granted, that it can happen, but that's why we teach the proper protocols and protection, and and again, it goes back to feelings. Like, I can use an example. We were in Gettysburg, in April, and we were at the Jenny Wade house, and my daughter was there, and there was one moment in time where all of a sudden she felt sick to her stomach, and she said, I need to leave. And I said, okay. Like, I wasn't going to say, oh no, you're going to stay. And you're like, you have to trust that feeling. There's something making you uncomfortable. I'm not going to allow you to continue. And I wouldn't allow that with anybody, even an adult, let alone a child. If you're uncomfortable, we got to remove ourselves from the situation. And then bringing things home with you, I mean, that's controversial. I don't know how anybody else feels about it. I mean, it can happen. I personally, I'm going to personal experience. I'm not going to talk about anything I've read, but just what I've experienced. More often than not, that doesn't happen. Again, if you use the proper techniques of instating boundaries, that doesn't usually happen. Like, they don't usually follow you home. Like, you have to stay here, and you make sure you cleanse your own energy. It's really not any different than if you're with somebody that's maybe in a bad mood and their energy rubs off on your energy, and you go home and now you're kind of cranky. Think of it that way, right? Your energy blended with their energy, and maybe you residually brought it home too. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my take on everything. But,
I agree.
Nicole, have your opinions or thoughts on those things?
Yeah, that's my thoughts as well, because I was doing the same thing. I was out in the woods with a Ouija board at 12, 13 years old, trying to talk to ghosts, because I was into the paranormal for really as long as I can remember, and that's not the way to go about it, not without closing things out and telling things they can't follow you home, proper protection. So we're going to cover all that. We're going to make sure that we're instructing the proper way to conduct an investigation and a way to be respectful, because they're watching, ghost adventures on TV, and they're, hey, demons, it's your boy. And you don't go into an abandoned building and start screaming that. Yeah. You got to be respectful.
And I think we've all done it. I don't know about you, Susan, but I mean, we were doing seances, Ouija boards, whatever we could at, 10, 11, 12 years old. And I remember getting scared and us all just breaking the circle and running, which is the worst thing you could do.
Yep.
But I didn't know that then.
Yeah.
Right. And thank God nothing happened. But, yeah. So I'd rather teach somebody the right way, because nobody taught me.
Well, growing up in the 70s, right, Lisa, the Ouija board was in like every house. And everybody had one. And I remember playing with the Ouija board in the dining room table with my sister and friend, and we were probably 8, 9 years old.
Yep.
And it started to move, and we're looking at each other going, are you moving this? Who's moving it? And we were like, oh, scared us to death, and my mother got rid of it when we told her it was moving. Who knows what we could have been doing?
Right. You don't know what you were doing. That's what
You
you
know
were
what
saying.
you're doing at all. At all.
We're dumb kids trying to replicate things, you know, you see in horror movies, and you're like, you can speak through me, and that's not what you want to tell a spirit. Giving it permission to possess you.
Right. That's exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And who was just telling us, like even the legends and stuff, like the Bloody Mary and all that, it's still like a form of a spell or a chant where you're welcoming something in.
It is. And I used to do that all the time when
Yeah.
I was in
And
elementary.
kids are doing it all the time.
Like, or late 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids would
Chuck was saying
from the bathroom
when
going, where they're doing it in the schools in the bathroom, the little ones.
So it's
Yeah.
still a thing.
Still a thing.
My kids
Still-
never did it. I should actually, when we're done, I'm going to ask them if they knew about it.
Yeah.
I've never talked to them about that Bloody Mary.
I was always too scared to do it. I never did that one. I really didn't want to see something in the mirror.
And
Still
light as a
haven't-
feather, stiff as a board. Did you ever do that? We used to do that at
Yep,
sleepovers.
I did that.
Yes, I
all
did
the
that
time.
one.
Every sleepover.
I think I did Bloody Mary all the time, but I never believed it. But
Oh,
I think it's,
believe
again,
that.
the intent behind it. If you go into it and you're thinking you're going to see something and you're afraid,
Right.
chances are you're going to, you know, open up. That fear is going to bring something in. If you go into it and you're like Bloody Mary and you don't think anything of it, you're not going to experience anything.
Right.
No.
Any comments we missed? Mark was saying he's 90% remote, so he tinkers during a long conference call. That's the way to do it. And Chuck was saying when he left Mid-Orange, he turned around and told him that no one can follow him home. We do that every
idea.
investigation.
Yeah. Always.
We're like, bye, thank you. Everybody stays here.
And we're usually still yelling
Jolene.
while we're in the car.
Yep.
Stay
There's
here.
been a couple instances I'm driving home and I'm a little creeped out and I'm like, no one can follow me. Get out of my car.
Yep.
I've done that after I say it when I get in the car. If I still have that weird vibe,
Yeah.
I'll call on Archangel Michael and I'll like imagine him taking his sword and cutting any energetic cords that I've created with any energies that night, like just chopping them and releasing them.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea.
Mhm.
Because you do feel like it got in your back seat sometimes.
Mhm. I always feel like I'm going to look in the mirror and something's
like
going to.
midnight, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
All right.
So the next thing that I have on the agenda tonight is the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. So that is the big topic of tonight is Gettysburg. So Lisa, you just came home from Gettysburg and we're pretty much going right back.
yep.
The Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, a weekend of hope and healing. It is a big paranormal convention weekend event. July 14th to 16th at the Wyndham in Gettysburg. It's a big event. The proceeds benefit the Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors Foundation. They have speakers. They have a big vendor expo where groups and
TV personalities.
TV personalities, they have people selling equipment, all kinds of different things. And they have parties. It's an awesome, awesome event. If you have never been, you should go.
Well, they have music and contests and stuff like that outside. It's real fun.
They're going to have a mobile escape room this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. So that is where we will be. Not this weekend, next weekend.
Right?
And their theme this year is Christmas in July. So they are going to have ugly t-shirt contest or ugly Christmas t-shirt contests. Cute elf and best Krampus.
And the cutest
Is anybody
elf.
dressing up? And cutest elf. Is anybody dressing up?
I might wear an ugly t-shirt. I'm not sure.
I
have
can
a
find
couple.
a t-shirt. Mm-hmm.
I went all out for the 80s costume
I know
last
that
year.
was fun. That was fun.
I would have done that if it was 80s, totally.
That was
Oh,
fun. Me and Lourdes ended up wearing the same, Lourdes Gonzalez ended up wearing the same costume.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a picture of that somewhere.
Well, even if only one or two of us dress up, we will not be alone. There will definitely be people that do get into the spirit of it and they will dress up. So don't feel weird if you do or you don't.
So we are actually going to investigate the haunted Gettysburg orphanage while we are there. We will be there from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. We're doing a very, very late night investigation. So right in the middle of the witching hour. So a little bit about the Gettysburg orphanage. Lisa, you've been there. You want to talk about the orphanage?
Yeah. So, you want to talk about the history of the orphanage or just the claims and the experiences?
Yeah, you can talk about just like a brief history. I put it up on the screen.
So
but-
after the Battle of Gettysburg, there was a woman who was widowed with her 3 children, and she decided to open up this orphanage for other, children that were widows that lost fathers. From what I remember, there was something about like the women. Now, don't quote me on this. I've learned so much, but I believe there was something along the lines of the women weren't able to work and financially support their kids without having the man. So if they lost the spouse, a lot of them lost their children. It was kind of sad. So there was, well over 100, even possibly close to, I think, 200 kids in that orphanage at one point. So anyway, the woman that initially started it with her 3 children apparently was lovely. They did a lot of community events. She was great with the kids. She ended up meeting somebody and remarrying and left with her children. And that's when Rosa Carmichael came in. And she was, from what I understand, a total witch, verbally and physically abusive to the kids. She'd make the older kids sometimes follow through on some of her punishments for the little kids, putting them in barrels of water and actually tying them in the barrels and making them stay there, tying them in the pit in the dark for several days, no food, in the complete darkness. There isn't one original shackle left on the wall, which you girls will see when we go, in the main part of the cellar before you walk into the hallway where the pit is. She would all kinds of things. And then the one thing I didn't know, which I'm going to be curious to focus on personally when we go this time, is Stick Boy, which is one of the older children that used to beat the little ones, like the 5-year-olds, the 6 and 7-year-olds with sticks, and actually, I guess, get off on it, so to speak, so he apparently there have been people that have said they've seen this boy. He's, I think, around 14 years old or so. So him I wasn't aware of the first time we were there when we investigated, so I'm going to focus some questions and things on that, see if we can get any communication from him. But yeah, the energy, I'm not going to lie, the energy is there. It's very heavy and it's very sad. There are a lot of people that leave toys, dolls, things like that, as like peace offerings for the children, or just, memorial tokens. And those have been known to move sometimes on their own or be broken. Like, some of the people, because the upstairs are now apartments, and some of them are some of the tour guides for Ghostly's Images of Gettysburg. And one of them will be the ones that let us in that night. And they'll find like a doll either moved from one place to another, or they found dolls where the limbs were ripped off overnight. They placed it somewhere. They found it on the floor or in another area. There's all kinds of stuff. So
It's definitely going to be some intense energy in there.
Definitely. And to see if you can stay in the pit. I climbed in at the end just to say I climbed in it, but I was like, I don't think I could sit in here. And
yeah, I think it's going to really bother me.
Times and stuff that were going off, but and even like my K2 bear was in there that was going off. But I've watched videos where there were people will sit in there with the equipment and sit in the. So I don't know, maybe because there's a whole group of us now and not just me and Frank. Maybe I'll be a little braver if there were a couple of us in there, but
I'll go.
Is it
Yeah.
I feel like I would feel physically sick in there.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So we have a video from the orphanage that Lisa took last time she was there to share with you guys. So the slide is not working, but I'm going to share the screen.
What were we looking at?
So if you look, actually, you'll see like my mouse point, because this was like a video.
All right, there you go. Better.
So basically, we had the little trail cams that we all have, the little black ones. We had left that at the. So when you go to walk into the pit, there's a door, a wooden door, and then there's a hallway, and then in front of it is that silver. I think it's like HVAC system, right? To the left of that is the pit. Pitch black. Him and I were upstairs at that point. We left the camera, and we also left one of the doorbell, the motion. The video prior to this one, the doorbell went off like 3 times, and we could hear it from upstairs. And we were like, okay. So then when we played back the video, we did have that on video. But yeah, so that's just the IR light from the camera. Otherwise, it's just sitting in pitch black facing down the hall. And then you see that shadow. It almost looks like it peered up to look and then ducked back down. So.
Oh yeah, now I really see it. Okay.
So this just in.
One more time.
Siobhan is listening in. So it was against the law to be a single mother. So a woman who was a widow created the orphanage. Woman couldn't have children without a boyfriend, husband. It was against the law to be a widow without kids. Okay. So yeah, it was a law thing back then. Thank you, Siobhan.
That's so sad.
That's terrible.
Thanks, Siobhan.
Thanks, Siobhan.
Thank you.
So another place we're going to check out, me and Lisa actually went last time we were in Gettysburg, is to the Dobbin House Tavern.
Oh, I love that place.
Oldest and most historic home in Gettysburg. Built in 1776, it was a hospital following the Battle of Gettysburg and a crawl space for runaway slaves seeking freedom on the Underground Railroad. Lisa, have you been to
No, I haven't
one?
been there. I wanted to, but we haven't. I did go, though, to the Museum of Haunted Objects last year, and there is one of the original boards from that house with the blood stain on it. Like they would have to take the boards off, and there were some obviously windowsills where they'd lay limbs to throw them out, and then there was also a board, the door knockdown. They used that as the operating table.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did like a psychometry, like each of us got to touch it before she told us what it was to see what we saw or felt, which was kind of cool. And then she told us it was part of that from the Dobbin House. I heard the food is good, though.
I was going to say, I think
very good.
A little off topic, but since we're all going, we should all make a point to have dinner there together.
That would be awesome, yeah. Because I looked at the menu and I was like, the kids, it's kind of expensive, and I was like, the kids aren't going to eat half this, so I wasn't even going to waste.
Yeah.
But it's very, very worth it.
Yeah.
And it is haunted.
Yes, it is.
So this is a photo that someone took in the basement where we ate last time.
Mm-hmm.
You see in the middle there,
Yep.
that is a photo allegedly of a spirit passing through. You can see he has like a little hat and a heavy coat on.
Yeah.
I
So we
saw
should
another.
post it.
That's not near a bar, is it? Because I had seen a picture. Oh, it is another picture, not that one, on a TV show. They were talking about the Dobbin House, and there was another picture, like where the bar wrapped around.
Yeah, that's the bar.
Similar, like a shadow figure.
And the employees,
That looks like exactly.
I'm sorry. I was just saying, when I ate there before, I had asked the server. He told me that they see stuff all the time. Like, it's not unusual.
Yeah.
People in uniform, too.
We sat there with the little cat ball out on the table the whole time.
Yeah. Definitely a cool place. Even if we can't eat there, just check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Susan, were you saying something?
No, I was saying it's exactly what Lisa's describing. It's the bar. It seems to be the corner of the bar.
Yeah.
So with Gettysburg, there is a lot of residual energy left over there. So another thing that I want to talk about tonight is what is a ghost? Do you think there's different types of hauntings, different types of spirits?
Definitely.
All
Different
right.
types.
I'll go out on a limb. I'll go first. I feel like a ghost is the residual energy, and a spirit is intelligent. That's just my take on it, just from, because I know there's a lot of confusion when you hear like it's like people interchange the two. I mean, regardless of what it is, it's a form of energy that exists outside of a physical form, if that makes sense, right? But I feel like ghost is more of like, I from what I've seen, it's more that if you want to separate the two, ghost would be residual, and a spirit would be an intelligent being. So that's just me.
That's a good way to differentiate.
Yeah, because sometimes people, I mean, because they don't understand the difference, so they'll say like, "Oh, it's a ghost," you know, if it's like, I don't know, their grandma knocking over their cup or something trying to get their attention, you know. But it's like, I see where they're coming with it because of TV shows or movies or you know things like that. But I'm like, but no, that they're intelligent. You know what I mean? They're trying to communicate with you. So to me, I would put them. I would term them as an intelligent spirit, an intelligent haunting. So, but I'd be curious for you guys, because we never actually talked about this. You know, your feelings on it, or
I just go ahead,
Go ahead.
Susan.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
You
Lisa.
go. Oh no, I was just gonna say I think that what she was saying, like I think it's either residual or intelligent. I don't know if I just think people have used different words for ghost and spirit and they don't really know what it is. I
right.
think that it's all energy at the end. But I mean it's either residual or it's intelligent. But I don't know because what's a poltergeist then? Is it a ghost or is it a spirit?
Well,
Or is a poltergeist a
It's still
person's energy?
that's
It's
where I
still
was going to
energy,
go.
right.
Moving.
But people will say it's
I
a
was always
ghost.
under the impression that a poltergeist was a haunting, like
A haunting.
by a ghost or a spirit, right? We'll use the
Right.
in the last, I don't know, 2 years or so, I've watched several different documentaries and things like that, and read some things where it's actually been shown that it's um our energy that we create, the chaos that we create. And not to say there isn't, say you're in a haunted place and then you've got your own frenetic energy and then it's feeding off of that too. But I'm pretty sure it was a Taps episode or something that I watched. I wish I could remember. And then I've always trusted, like I like the way that they've always, I mean, I've been watching them since 2004 or 5. Have always come the mindset, like they're similar to, like how we work, right? We're not going to go in and just be like, oh, this place is, haunted, and like trying to poke and prod and provoke and whatever. Where am I going with this now? I just totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, no, I remember there was something recently, and they realized the poltergeist, it wasn't because it was following the person from like house to house, like wherever they were. It would throw things off, electronics, or even things would move or be flying off the shelves, and they were totally ungrounded, their energy, and it was something they personally had to work on, harnessing their own energy and like
right, because it was with that, they were creating it with their energy. Yeah.
Mark and Chuck both think it's an annoyed ghost.
Probably is.
Which it could be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think people use the term ghost when they cannot identify it. And it's interesting, they use spirit when they feel it's family or someone they know and they're comfortable. And then they'll say, my grandmother's spirit. But if they're unfamiliar they're in a different place and something happens, then it's a ghost.
Yep.
So it's interesting. I just Googled to see what would come up in the dictionary. An apparition of a dead person, which is believed to appear or become manifest to the living, typically a nebulous image. So again, apparition of a dead person. But you could have two different types of deceased energy, right? Or you've got the residual, like Gettysburg, someone that catches an apparition of a soldier that's walking through the forest and doesn't even realize you're there because it's like on repeat, right? Like a tape player. Or you could have an apparition of somebody, whether you knew them or not, but it's a spirit, you know. And I could say, because I sometimes see spirits and they don't belong. They're not my people, right? It's somebody else's person, but it's an intelligent person trying to get a message across to somebody. You know, so that's why it's funny if you read the dictionary, it's kind of like blah. Like it's just, oh, it's a spirit that shows itself, or a ghost, or an apparition, right? So
When my daughter was really, really young, she used to tell me that a ghost is a person who used to be alive, and a spirit is a person who was never alive. Which was a really weird definition for like a little toddler to give.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting, because then that makes me think that she could have been. That was your daughter, you said?
Yeah.
Tapping into, I would think, more angelic stuff. Like this could be a whole other topic. I could go on for hours, but angelic beings, or maybe there's certain saints or a hierarchy on the other side, right? If you believe in that, that never incarnated. God never incarnated.
So spirits of souls that were never
right
came to being.
She could have,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
And
there's
being
certain souls that
It's
were
like the Holy Spirit.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't know.
And
I just thought that always stuck
that's
with me, because I'm like, that's such a weird thing for like a little like 4-year-old to say.
Right.
It is.
Well, you have to
weird
think she wasn't here that long, right?
Mhm.
So she probably had contact.
She's a weird kid.
That's where I was going with that, Susan, is I
Yeah.
felt like she may have had some sort of vision or visitation, whether in a wake state or sleep state, either or, because kids are so open to this, right? Where they were trying to teach her something, and like that being the spirit, you know, of a being, an energetic being that oversees us and our souls, why we live, to learn the lessons. Like I said, this could be a whole other topic. You know, that never incarnated.
That was actually when we were using a pendulum, and she was trying to like figure out how the pendulum works. She didn't realize it was yes or no questions. She was asking it, are you a ghost or a spirit? I'm like, well, what's the difference? A ghost and a spirit are the same thing. She's like, no, they're not.
She knows more than mommy.
I guess. Chuck said, the boy in his apartment is intelligent, but has nothing to do with him. He was here first. Usually they are.
Right. Land. It could be land. It could be the building. It could be land. It could be, if you live in an apartment building, it could belong to somebody else's person. You know, there's so many different reasons that you may have someone visit you that seems a spirit or ghost, or whatever term you want to use, intelligent energy that visits, you know, where they came from. It could just be that they know that you can see them, you can hear them, you can get their message across. It's kind of like why we do investigating too, and using the using the equipment to get, yes, the tangible proof that we can see, or hey, there's a voice on here, but nobody was talking, right? Like, where did that come from? How do we so like having that, but also at the same time, once we establish that contact and we get that proof, is there something they want us to do for them? Is there a message we need to give to the homeowner? Maybe they don't like what color they painted the house. It could be simple as that, right? Maybe they ripped something up that they had created, and they didn't want that, and they felt like, oh, you know, you tore apart my house, and I wish you didn't do that. It upset me. And there could be
You'd
some
be surprised.
They're just trying to say, hey, you know what? I lived here, and I like what you've done with the place. But sometimes, a lot of the times, there's a message they're trying to get across too.
Chuck said he's been trying to figure that out.
I would say just keep asking questions and, recording and see if they answer.
Well, do you think that the new technology, because they're always coming out with new gadgets, new tech, is going to bring us closer to proving the existence of the paranormal?
That's a good question.
Or is it just another flashy light that, yeah, something's happening, but we still don't know what?
I think that a lot of them are just newer, flashier versions of older stuff. Maybe they're a little clearer or they work a little better, but I don't know. I mean, some of it I think is interesting for sure, the newer stuff, how it works. I don't know if it'll bring us closer to proving it.
Have you been watching that show, Skinwalker Ranch?
Yeah.
Me and Frank started watching.
Like, I find it so interesting because to me, I mean, they keep going for the like a crossover, right, from a UFO type of thing. But a lot of the stuff they're doing is really measuring levels of magnitude, things that we do. And they're actually starting to kind of hone in on what could be possible, like portals of energy that you can't see, but now they're capturing evidence of, like they see things there and then they're gone. And so it's kind of interesting. I think somewhere down the road, absolutely, we're going to know more than we know now. Absolutely. And
I think they just need to find the right equipment, the right thing to measure to prove something.
That's how I feel, Nicole, because it's like when I'm reading the question, like, do you think the new tech will, or if it, like you said, or is it just another thing that they can manipulate and flash a light and, oh, that's cool, but does it give more proof? And I feel like it's going to depend on the type of technology that's discovered and created, kind of like when we were talking about the soul phone last time. If they were to get that working, that would be pretty wild.
And I think as science becomes more involved in this and more accepting of it, I think you'll see change and discovery come much faster. It's not as taboo as it used to be, and people that are serious scientists are taking it seriously. And that's the kind of, I think, money you need to have invested in the research.
I agree.
I think the newer stuff is easier for the spirits to manipulate because it's just built a lot better. So I think that's why we're getting more interaction with the lights and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, a lot of it in the beginning, and some of it that we still use now is just regular, everyday K2 meters or what electricians use, or cat balls, or a toy, or voice recorders. I mean, and the fact that we were at the Patchett house after our first podcast, and I was videoing with my cell phone, which I've never even thought to even try to capture EVPs on, but it's a voice recorder, right? We were videoing. I was videoing because we were trying to debunk a door handle, a door that was kind of jiggling.
That video.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about that later.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I have that later.
Nicole and I were both videoing with their phones, and we both got a voice that was not there. And it's awesome that we both caught it on two separate cell phones.
That was crazy.
Just we're just looking back. We were trying to show Lisa.
Hey, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. If anybody does not know, Debbie is one of the founders of Full Moon Paranormal, and we miss her dearly.
Yes, we do.
Mark was saying it's energy. We just need to land on how to measure it, which I wholeheartedly agree with.
Yep, that's it.
Eventually, someone will figure it out.
That is what Maria was saying too. Definitely everything at one time was mysterious until they found the correct tools to prove it.
It's true.
So let's kind of segue into our fact or fake for the show, time travel. So Gettysburg, people have reported walking onto the battlefield and being surrounded by soldiers in full uniform, not reenactors, these ghostly soldiers. Are they having a time slip? Are they seeing apparitions? Because this has happened too. Two women walked into the Palace of Versailles and walked into a whole nother time period, strolled around the gardens, and it was like 100 years earlier. Do you believe that time travel is real?
I would say that it's another dimension. I don't think it's really time travel. Like, are you slipping through different planes or different dimensions?
It almost sounds like astral projection.
Yeah, or astral projection, where you can visit another place.
Right. You can go to another dimension, or you can go backwards or forwards in time. But then you still come back. Like you're attached, your soul's attached by the etheric cord, which is where your solar plexus sits. Like, so that's why sometimes people talk about sleep paralysis. I'm not saying this is true or not. I'm not a doctor, or I'm not. But like from what I've read and researched with sleep paralysis, it's if your soul, right, starts to leave the body and starts to travel, and then something kind of alarms you, and your soul slaps back into your body fast. It almost like stuns you. Again, don't know if it's true or not. Just things I read. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I would think that it would be more of a interdimensional kind of thing. Because what's to say if there is another dimension, it's following the same timeline as us. They might be 100 years before us, 100 years ahead of us. I always think about that when we're investigating. We were talking about that at the Patchett house. So, you know, with the table tipping era, the whole rise of spiritualism.
Yeah, spiritualism.
Yeah, so we're sitting there at a table asking them to move the cat ball. And maybe in their dimension, they're sitting there tapping the tables. And that's what's making all of our stuff move. Who knows? Maybe they're operating on their timeline and we're operating on ours, and somehow.
And what do you think about deja vu?
Past lives.
Past lives. Okay.
Past life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Whether it's a person, whether it's a place.
It's just a very weird thing that happens. It's just like, I was here and you were there and you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you go somewhere and it feels like where you belong, almost like home, but you don't know why because you've never been there before. Or a person, even meeting a person, and you feel safe and it's like you've known them forever and you feel like you could just attach yourselves to them. You don't know why. Even just being drawn to certain cultures and wanting to learn more about them too.
Yeah.
All of that I feel is past lives.
Or your phobias and irrational fears. Like if you have a fear of drowning, it's because you drowned in a past life. Mm-hmm. I've heard that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot doing regressions and having regressions done on myself too. So yeah, I mean, and even sometimes I've seen it where someone recalls, when I'm facilitating like a regression, they'll recall a certain wound that they received. And then when they come out, when I get them out of, the meditative state, the hypnotic state, they'll be like, that's so weird because I have like a beauty mark there, or a mole, or a scar, or an indent. They were born with it. They don't know why, kind of thing.
Mark says, if the Philadelphia experiment is to be believed, dimensional or time travel may be possible.
And a lot of people do believe in the Philadelphia experiment.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were definitely doing some crazy things.
Yeah.
If you believe like in deja vu, do you also believe, because sometimes I wonder, are we just all of our souls, like are we living in the same us in the same, just at different dimensions all at the same time? Are we split and we're experiencing things, and that's why when it occurs you're kind of like aware of it on another dimension, because you're also in that other dimension developing there as well.
Debbie said that she feels like deja vu is a different timeline you're on or have been to, so right along the same lines what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah. Being a past life, or
there's a lot of good theories out there,
like occurring at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thing on that though, because if we're here, right, to live an experience and learn lessons, if that's what you believe, right, you know, that our soul comes into a body, I feel like it would not be beneficial. Like, we're not going to grow on a soul level if we're split into different dimensions at the same time, trying to do different things. Does that make sense, Susan?
Yeah, but there are some people who believe your soul is broken into fractured pieces, and that each piece is part of the completion of your lessons. So what you experience this time around, that part of you stays with, you know, whatever you want, like with God, right? And another piece of you comes down for a different experience. And if that's the case, then you could be on multiple planes at one time.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Like
that people ask me how, if not that you could prove it, but say they thought a soul of somebody they knew reincarnated as like their child or grandchild or something, how do you go to a medium and still connect with that energy?
Because that part of them didn't
you could still connect with the energy of the soul.
Exactly.
Right. Even if they've reincarnated and become a different physical person, it's still the same energy. Right.
Exactly. It's kind of interesting.
I like how all these theories kind of go together, even if they're not exactly the same, because I've heard, and what I like to think is, you know, energy is not created or destroyed, it just changes. So what's to say that after you pass, all of your energy just picks up in one big chunk and is plopped somewhere else? That's not necessarily the case. Your energy could disperse and is in 100 different things, in 100 different ways. So that could explain why you have 100 different soulmates. You know, part of your soul's over here, part of your soul's over here. It used to be one thing, now it's all over the place. So part of the spirit could be over here, part of it reincarnated into this, part of you's a tree over here.
Exactly.
So fragmented, same type of thing.
And the part that's complete goes back to the collective whole. And that collective whole that you can tap into.
A lot of interesting theories are coming up tonight. I'm gonna have to think about a lot of things after this.
And how will we ever really know?
We're never gonna know.
We won't know until we die.
I know.
Isn't that weird?
And then you go,
so we are a hot mess of energy.
First has to come back and tell everybody else.
Yeah.
Have to come back and tell us.
Somebody just tell me. That's going to be the next questions at our next investigation. What are we?
Okay.
Oh, we were talking a little bit about the Patchett House before. We were at the Patchett House recently doing an investigation. It was an investigator-only event. Anybody want to give a quick summary? Me? Okay.
I feel like I've talked too much.
We end up talking over each other.
So the Patchett House is now the Wachau River Art School. They do art classes. It's a very, very nice venue. They have art all over the walls. It's a gallery. They have some offices upstairs. They are kind enough to let us go in and investigate. It used to be a funeral home. They have the embalming sink still down in the basement, which is pretty cool. It used to be the home of the Patchett family right up until the last remaining Patchett, Emma Patchett, passed away. The house is supposedly haunted by several different spirits. One of the main ones is Emma Patchett. So we were there with the Bandolphs from Barefoot Paranormal, Ron and Lourdes from Cognac Paranormal,
Rich Michella,
William Helms from Casper. Who else was there?
We had
Jenny Colucci
and Stacy from Parasite, Team Parasite.
Yeah, it was a pretty active night. They were doing some ITC with the Statacom, which was pretty cool. They set up a machine that just runs straight white noise, and voices start coming through it.
Yeah.
Where there should be no voices. See if that video that we were talking about earlier will play.
Should we set it up or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we were all standing in the kitchen. There was just a few of the girls, and I was standing directly in front of the basement door when I said, it sounded like somebody was jiggling the door handle. So, and then I told we were just talking, so I made everybody be quiet, and that's when Lisa took her phone out, I believe, and then I'll let you play the clip. But it was doing it prior.
So we're trying to debunk at this point, because whenever anything happens, our first thing we go to is try to recreate it, so we know if it was one of us walking or talking or making it happen. So that's what you hear going on here.
Oh yeah, that we're walking through and we're stomping on the floor. Right.
Mm-hmm. That's the door. That's the door creaking. Before she came in here.
Hold on, can you walk back and do it again?
Yep. Did it work?
Yes. But I don't know if it was you or just a coincidence.
No, the door creaked before you came in.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Because I definitely felt it.
No, it just did it again, but it wasn't you.
Did you hear it? But it's kind of quiet. You might have to turn
on here.
your volume up. Let's play it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the door. That's the door creaking. Before she came in here.
Hold on, can you walk back and do it again?
Yep. Did it work?
Yes. But I don't know if it was you or just a coincidence.
No, the door creaked before you came in.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Because I definitely felt it.
No, it just did it again, but it wasn't you.
Oh wow, I heard it that time. Yeah.
So right at the end here.
No,
Definitely felt it.
it just did it again, but it wasn't you.
Right there.
Here, the spirit tell us to get out, which is something of a theme for that night. It told us to get out. It was dropping F-bombs all night to the point where one member of the party got a little fed up with it and told it, F me? No, F you, which was very out of character for him.
Yep. And it actually stopped after that.
Yeah.
For the most part. So it need to be put in its place.
And we have one more video from that night. The one of you talking to the priest or preacher.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about what was going on there while I set it up?
I don't remember which clip this is.
This is the K2. When the K2 is going off in
I remember this one.
the doorway.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
in the doorway. You can have him get all the wood for the fireplace.
I don't remember exactly what happened prior to that. I'm sorry.
He told me you had him get all the wood for the fireplaces. Is that true?
What happened when he talked back to you?
Did you beat him with a switch? Law. Clause. Yeah, can't see the word there. It's only a delay. It shows the word first and then the word comes out later.
So this is where you guys were speaking with the preacher
Mhm.
and asking him about his son.
Wasn't the cat ball going off? Can you see it? Wasn't it going off by your feet? Lisa, I can't remember.
The K2 was going off.
The
Me too.
K2 was going up, yeah, like lighting up almost all the way to red.
You told me you had him get all the wood for the fireplace.
Let's see if we can make it a little bit bigger.
Is that true? There it goes. Now you can see it.
What happened when he talked back to you?
Did you beat him with a switch? Law. Clause. Yeah, can't see the word there. It's only a delay. It shows the word first and then the word comes out later.
He was not a nice man. Whoever
He was not.
No.
Susan, do you remember the Bible verse that we kept getting,
Oh,
or that we got?
yeah. What was that Bible verse? And it ended with, that his soul could not rest because I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was his soul could not rest because it was evil. I have to see if I have
This man was a preacher or a minister, and he beat his son to death.
Yeah.
Debbie said, did he say never?
Not that I heard. I could go back and listen.
And yeah, he threw out like the book of the Bible and the number.
Yep.
And so we looked it up, and that's what the verse was referring to. And we had interaction with him at a previous investigation where he was trying to stop the little boy from coming through, and Rich Michella actually drew several pictures of the little boy, and we got EVPs from the little boy out by the back tree.
Which we feel like he's blocking because he doesn't want people to know the truth of what happened.
And the other investigation we did just this weekend was at the Washingtonville Cemetery. We went out for a overnight vigil for in memory of the soldiers who passed in the Battle of Gettysburg. So Jill from Washingtonville Cemetery actually emailed us and asked us if we would like to come out. They were actually staying overnight for 2 nights.
Yeah.
Stand vigil at the graves of the soldiers, which is awesome. That's a big feat because it is dark there and there's no real bathrooms.
And it's hot and buggy.
And they
Yes.
were camping. They were just sitting in chairs.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, they are troopers. It was beautiful though. They lit these luminaries, and there was a surprising amount of up memorials for these soldiers. I think there was 82.
29. I asked her. 29 were Civil War, or were Gettysburg. 82 were Civil War
Okay.
total.
And it's a small cemetery.
Yeah.
Which
For
it's
that
a
kind
good
of
number.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you finished talking about that. She did email me or send me a message that I did. Are you going to show any of the clips from Frank?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll tell you what she sent to me after.
Okay.
Okay.
If you guys want to talk about what was going on there for a minute while I try to find the clip.
Well, I think Susan and I we were just like, I don't know, we were just walking around and I thought I saw a man walking through the stones. And I said to her, I said, don't think I'm weird. I said, I'm drawn over here. I just saw a man walking and I'm like, I feel like we should go. She's like, well, let's go over there. Go where you're drawn. And she just said, whatever you're drawn to, let's just go sit there. And when we sat in front of the stone, earlier we were getting the name Frank Green, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the Phasma box. We were getting a lot of Frank Green. So this is a little bit later. I see the man. I walk over. I sit myself down and it's dark. So we turn on the flashlight. The stone says Frank Green. So I thought that was very interesting that I was drawn to that stone. Like he definitely had a message for us.
Susan, do you want to talk a little bit about Charles? Because you were interacting with him for quite a while.
Yeah, we had Charles, we recorded for, I think it was 16 minutes of interaction, Nicole and I, with Charles. And he was a musician for his career, for his life, but he also played instruments for the Civil War, for the marching. And so Nicole and I, he started interacting. We were just using a cat ball and he was lighting it up based on our questionings. And Nicole started to play the music and we started questioning him, does this song sound familiar? And it would light up back and forth. And then we started playing different songs and he actually picked a favorite song. And when we Googled it, right, that song was the #1 song played by the bands during the Civil War. It was like a top 10 hit. And it was just accidental that we picked it. We also asked him if his wife was with him, and he also was setting the cat ball off for that.
So here is the video of Charles.
Would you play this song for the boys during the war? Would you have played this when you came back?
There was another singer, regular people who would have served at the same time, Charles Kurt. And I wonder if they had a singing, maybe.
Did you know Charles Kurt? Is that Kirk? Did you know Charles Kirk? Yes, it's lighting up.
Right over here, so I figured. He was called the singing auctioneer, so I wonder if he was there.
Charles, did you ever sing with Mr. Kirk? Can you light it up if you were the better singer?
That was my question too.
I'm sure.
And he pretty much just let that ball stay lit for quite a while.
Yes. Yeah.
Then we put out a second one. Do you remember we put the second one out and asked him which one was brighter? He lit the brighter ball. We had different questions going where he had a choice between two as well.
Yeah. This one is a little hard to see because it is dark. This was the different Charles.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Charles, what were you drinking? What was your favorite drink? Beer?
Me.
You know, mead is becoming popular again, Charles.
This is where the other Charles told us that he wanted mead, which he told us more than once. So if you go to Washingtonville Cemetery, bring Charles a mead. Oh, now they come up.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Now we're getting to the end of our slides here. So these are the next couple events we have coming up. So we have our investigations at the Bombville Grange. During the day, we have our Ghostology at the Grange kid-friendly paranormal presentation and investigation. And then in the evening, that same day, we will have Ghost of the Grange with our special guests, Rosalind and Michael Lewis, as seen on Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters Academy. They're awesome speakers. If you have never seen them, I highly recommend that you come check them out. The proceeds from these events are going to go to help feed Bombville Grange. We have the paranormal evening at the Strauss Mansion that might be sold out by now.
There was 4 tickets left about a week ago. I don't know if there are any more.
Okay, that is a collaboration between 4 paranormal teams, between us, Seekers Club of the Paranormal, Gagnac Paranormal, and the New Jersey Paranormal Project. Is that what Rich Michela's team is called? And then we have the Booze, Brews, and Barbecue at New Street Tavern. It is a great way to close out the summer and usher in spooky season. There's going to be a great barbecue dinner and an investigation at New Street Tavern. Maria's going to be at Strauss Mansion.
Yay!
Awesome. And then, drum roll for our big event announcements. Lisa, do you want to make it?
Now you can do it.
That's so much talking. So, Friday the 13th, Friday, October 13th, we will be doing a ghost hunt at the Goshen Historic Music Hall with the special guest, Alexandra Holzer, daughter of famed investigator Hans Holzer. She is an awesome speaker. We've investigated with her before. She's great. We love her.
And there's only going to be a small amount of tickets for that, so don't wait to buy tickets for that one, because when they're gone, we will not be adding any last-minute tickets.
This is a fundraiser for the Italian American Club to help them raise money for their scholarship funds. And this building, we checked it out. It's an awesome building. It was built in 1889, I believe, as a music hall during the heyday of the Goshen track, when it was big into entertainment. Goshen was like the place to be. Then it was bought by the Masons, who lowered the floor and added a whole second story. It was used as a Masonic lodge, which a lot of of that is still in place right now. And now
Yeah.
it's used as offices for the Goshen Chamber of Commerce. So it's really rare that we're able to get in there.
Yep. Yeah, this is being done as a favor, and this won't be open for investigation probably ever again, I'm thinking.
Ever again.
So if you'd like to go, don't wait.
Yeah, my favorite part is the basement because you can see where they had these fireplaces to heat it up from like under the floor, but because they lowered the floor, there's like a tiny little crawl space. It's awesome in there.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting place.
Plus, we're gonna have Alexandra Holzer.
That's
And
going to be good.
It'll be a good night.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a great night. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
And we'll have a special announcement coming up for December too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
stay
that's
tuned for
true.
that one.
Yeah, lots of exciting stuff coming up. We have a lot going on this
Yeah.
this fall and the winter. Be very busy. It's a good thing. All right.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing.
Very good.
All right, so I think that's all we have for tonight. So we are going to wrap it up, but we will be back. Paranormal Perspective, the first Wednesday of next month. So that is, what is the date? August 2nd. So hopefully we will see you all next month. Have a good
Yes.
night.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Good, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.